Hey my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, OGJackeeNicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get to the commentary where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo? Welcome Black y'all, you are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel. This is your girl OGJackeeNicole where I say stay bougie on them and I'm serving you feminism for the soul. Check me on Instagram at bougieaf_ish. Also on Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. If this is your first time here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Alright, so listen, we're going to do a little Instagram scroll. It's going to be one story because I want to be clear, concise, and I just want to get this out as soon as possible. Alright, so I wanted to talk about this story that recently hit. And this story was interesting to me because there's just been a lot of stuff that's going on Clubhouse and, and just there's a trend and there's just things that I feel like I'm picking up, right? Now, I'm not saying all this is factual. I'm talking about my spidey sense. I'm talking about that thing that I usually get right, that intuition, discernment, all of that, right? So I'm talking about that. So, we've sat back for months and watched Kim Kardashian go through what she's been going through with Kanye in terms of like all the bullshit and all the things he's had to say about her. Putting their family business out in these streets, which has been extremely embarrassing, but also doing things that are really creepy and uncomfortable, like buying a house across the street from your ex-wife by telling us that she's trying to do horrible things to you. And how she's just this horrible person, but at the same time still trying to get back with her behind the scenes, right? So it's just like, using the media in a way to become his like flying monkeys. And I think a lot of times when it comes, we don't realize that we're being used a certain way in people's agendas and what they have planned for themselves. And it's sick as fuck, but you can have a whole family situation going on that may affect your family, may affect your kids and their mental health when they're seeing all this stuff online. But you can see you'll have other people who may see that as an opportunity to exploit your situation for their own personal gain. And I just think that's what we have going on right here. We have that going on, but I also think we have right now some men on some bro code protecting degeneracy in terms of Kanye and his behavior, right? I'm never going to take away from his accomplishments because I'd be a fool to do that. But I've never, and I'll never get on my mic and tell you guys that that's enough to overshadow you or ignoring trash ass behavior and not calling it out. And so that's more or less is the stance that I wanted to do with Kanye because I'm not going to softly talk about Kanye. I'm just not going to do that. And that's not because I am uncompassionate when it comes to people with disabilities or mental health issues. I'm extremely compassionate, but what I do know is that there's a lot of miseducation and there's a lot of people don't know about mental health. And with that being said, there's a lot of people who are allowed to operate in very destructive, disgusting ways, and society tends to try to cover them because something's wrong. And a lot of times it's too late to correct in terms it's not a child that you can, guide and get them support and try to, really, help them with whatever they're dealing with, right? A lot of times as an adult, we're dealing with people who just never probably got tested, people who never really, got the support they need, like in schools and stuff like that in terms of their education or even just needing support in terms of probably even just speaking to counselors and stuff like that who've never gotten that. So what ends up happening, a lot of times people coast through school systems, they get passed on grade after grade. Some individuals even get, I'm not talking about, this is not Kanye's situation. I'm not narrowly talking about him, but what ends up happening with people who aren't getting the necessary help, especially like I said, I'm talking about kids. You have kids, if they don't get the help that they need, they are the kids that are a part, that numbers show that they are the group that ends up being a part of that school to prison pipeline that everybody's talking about. Y'all know that nigga Umar Johnson's always talking about it. I think he even seen a video where a nigga said he created it. And I don't even know about that because it's just like, nigga, you really just showed up 10 years ago. And let me tell you something, that prison and pipeline showed up way before that. But okay, whatever, I digress. And it's been a talking point for the Pan-Africans for a very long time. With that being said, the reason why I was saying and told you guys all of that in terms of dealing with Kanye, we have a lot of adults, and Kanye is somebody who's just massively famous, that everybody knows. And I tell you guys again, it's never really that personal with me, but if I can use an opportunity to make correlations, if I can use an opportunity to make people think about like what they're seeing in their everyday life in terms of our neighborhoods and what's affecting our kids, right? Because we know it's not feminism in the gay community, but if I can make an observation to help people put some things together and maybe do some introspective work, or maybe even look at how they're dealing with their children or their sons and how they're raising them, and just maybe even dealing with like their siblings or people in their real life, and you're just like, oh, that's what that's about, and realizing that people may need help or maybe have never even received help, and identifying some of that behavior may be due to some mental health issues, right? That's why I can't be easy on Kanye. Because what I do know is that a lot of times with people who do have these like mental health situations, if you're not honest with them, they will continue to be this way. They will continue to act out. They will continue to do. They will continue to feel like they have the right to behave the way they are, because they feel like there's either some like grave injustice or the world did them wrong, or they're just angry at the fucking world. So they should be able to do whatever they want. And that's literally how Kanye's attitude comes across. And I think as a community, talking about black people, we've done a horrible job with allowing him or continue to keep on saying his mother's death really affected him. And that's not to say that it hasn't really affected him, but sometimes we have to realize how people use what you perceive as drama for their own personal exploitation, right? Naming that, the albums are Donda, doing the whole house thing and all this other stuff, just like really putting that in front of you, to remind you why we're saying that he behaves the way he does, right? All these years later, and I'm not saying he didn't genuinely want to name his albums or really want to talk about his mother. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is I think he's aware how it appeals to people in their sympathy and their compassion and all those other words, their empathy and all that other stuff. I think he's aware of that. And when someone is that aware of, and essentially, I hope to get to that grandmaster level of marketing and all the other stuff, but I feel like he's aware that we kind of always give him that excuse that his mother died. And with that being said, we know he has mental health issues, and so he tends to most definitely know that there's a lot of room given to him for his behavior. And I'm not here advocating for saying, oh, somebody should be automatically locked up if they have mental health and they're off course and they're not behaving. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying that mental health is just really not an excuse, right? And for some reason, when it comes to black men, and this is a disparity to me that I feel when it comes to black men and when it comes to black women who deal with mental health, I feel black women aren't comforted in their mental health. I think black women are most definitely given a time frame to deal with their shit and get over it and get back to real life. That I don't think men are, a lot of men are given that same type of time frame to tell them adjust their fucking deplorable behavior if you're affecting other people. Because it's one thing to be going through your own personal depression and you stay to your fucking self, but there's another thing when you out here in these streets and you causing pain and you doing like erratic shit that we see Kanye doing. I think that's something completely different, and I don't think they are the same things or on the same level. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to Kanye and the excuse in terms of like his mother, in dealing with this situation with his mother, it feels as if though he thinks that's enough to continue to keep doing. Why are we not saying get over it? Why are we not saying that everybody on a daily basis is losing somebody, and that everybody is still required to show up the next day after dealing with their grief, and if it does take you some time, it should be, that's fine. I'm not condemning that. But, regular people are required to deal with death and still go to work, still show up as decent human beings, because nobody knows what you're going through unless you tell them. And it just feels like we're giving him too much time to sit in that space. and still offering excuses for the behavior, right? I mean, he can spend the rest of his life in this space if that's what he chooses to do, but that necessarily does not mean that people have to that does not mean people are required to pacify him, and make him feel better about himself and his behavior, and make him feel as if though he's justified in the things that he was doing to his ex-wife. I mean, you can feel how you want. And like I said, when it comes to Kim Kardashian, I'm so surprised to be on this side of defending and really growing to liking her more and more. Never thought that 2 or 3 years ago. Ain't got nothing in common. Didn't see her as the same type of woman I admire. We all know she got famous off that sex tape and all this other stuff. And so I'm like, when it comes to certain females like that, I'm always like, girl, we bringing two different things to the table, right? So I just thought I just didn't see myself being really even interested in. I remember me and my sister talked about it one time. I was like, out of all the celebrities, I felt like the Kardashian sisters were the least ones I wanted to know. Like, they would be very much so on the bottom of my list. Now, I said the sisters. I ain't saying nothing about the mama, because the mama knows the business. And so I would most definitely love to meet and talk to her. But so for me, the mother always seemed like the more interesting, more one who had more depth in her. You know what I'm saying? Because they come off as Sweet Valley High type of girls. So it's just like I don't think I could vibe with them too much. And I know what y'all say, but aren't you bougie? I was like, they on a whole nother level bougie. Okay, I'm around the way bougie. Yeah, I'm around the way bougie. Like, I don't want that yellow ramen or that orange ramen pack. Give me the noodles with the Japanese writing on it, like, type of food. But anyway, so I never thought that these were like girls like I wanted to meet or would have anything in common, and not to mention that they'll take your man, like, in my stankish JT voice, like, for real. So they got that reputation going on too. So I don't fuck with them type of bitches. So I was like, I never wanted to meet, like, interested. But I say all that to say that when she started to go through this divorce with Kanye, she really started to put herself out there more than just the Kim Kardashian we knew. I don't know, it just seemed different. It seemed like we were getting like this regular, she was speaking in a regular voice. And she seemed mature. She also seemed as though she was growing intellectually, and at the time we didn't know what was going on. I think we later found out she was studying to be a lawyer. But she just felt like she was like really growing in that, but also really, she seemed very skillful in the fact that, even if I think about before we knew that they were divorcing, on what she would speak about, she was very skillful about. It just seemed like she really handled herself in a way that was admirable, to be completely honest, right? Because you got these 4 ass kids that you don't have with this Donda special boy, and he off in Colorado somewhere in the studio, and you over here raising your kids. You know what I'm saying? And so it was very much like she had been abandoned in her marriage by her husband, and all of that is ignored by black men. All of that is ignored. All that we've seen that he did to her, from making a video about what's his name, Pete Davidson, insinuating he's trying to kill him. All of that has been ignored by a lot of black people in the black community to really cover this man. Where at times, like when you talk about like what has happened between him and Kim, that it felt like I'm concerned for her, right? You had video of him hitting somebody, a cameraman, and then his cousin looking like she's somebody who he needs somebody to travel, be around him 24/7 to make sure he don't, do nothing crazy, brazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like, he had a cousin who was like, give me your hand. That was a little, somebody gonna get your hand, nigga? But meanwhile, I'm on Clubhouse and niggas is calling him their genius, which is really weird. Anyway. So you have all of this going on, and you black community and even black women deciding that as much as toxic as, so not all, but a lot of them, as toxic as Kanye had been, they still found ways to like defend him, right? It became about, you're not letting him see his child, you're not letting him go to his daughter's birthday party, even though they had talked and made arrangements, and he was supposed to have his own party for her. maybe it was up in the air if he was coming to hers, but it wasn't solid. But the plan was most definitely he was celebrating and doing his own thing, right? Because if you're going through a divorce, and I totally feel it, yeah, maybe it was just, if you come, you come, and if you don't, because you're doing your own thing, you don't, right? Not necessarily me saying that you can't come. And it felt like he was taking that as, oh, she planned and was having her party, and he didn't have the information for it, and so a last minute, I want to come, right? So it felt like a very childish thing. I mean, he's doing all of this bullshit. So, we're at this place. Divorce has been, granted. Everyone's trying to move on. I see a lot of black men trying to come to Kanye's defense and defend all of what I just talked about. Because Kanye has decided that he's going to take some time. He got kicked off. Did he get kicked off or decide not to do Coachella? He was supposed to do some music festival. No, he decided not to do it, basically. And then he offered some response to the public. He offered a response that he was going to go away for a little bit and kind of get himself together. So, any times if you know a little bit about people who suffer from, different forms and been diagnosed, because I'm not blowing smoke out my ass. This is somebody who's been diagnosed, that their behavior can go up and down depending on their medication, depending on if they're taking it, depending on if their mood and all the other stuff is stable. So we know like that's a part of it. And it just seems like we're now back at a place where he may be leveling and deciding that he needs to go do some more work. With that being said, I feel like there's a lot of people who want Kanye to work with them right now. They want Kanye to be crazy, erratic, and doing all of this because they could eat off of him. They want to be in studio with him. They want him. They just want him. And there's really nothing wrong with that. But if someone's not well, right? If someone's not well, then they got to go get right. But I think a lot of people see him as a way to eat, and if he goes sits down for a little bit, people may not be able to eat off for him because he's at his most vulnerable when he's going through what seems to be like a mania. And not like I said, I'm no doctor. I'm not saying, but when he's up, like if I don't call it crazy and I don't use the right terms, like it's like you're insulting somebody you're insulting somebody by saying like when he acting crazy he ain't on his medication, you say it in that type of way instead of trying to be like respectful and say like that look like what I read, and they say that's a little bit of mania. And not to say that he's already been diagnosed, but I'm not trying to speak from a authoritarian perspective in terms of like what mental health looks like. I'm just giving you my fucking opinion. You can take it or leave it. It's bougie as F. You can take it or leave it. But you could just tell the difference. And I think he's leveling out. It just feels like, somebody, may have snuck him his medication and his orange juice. That's what it seems like. We getting back regular. So he's gonna go get help. He's apologized, and he's apologized for embarrassing his wife, which was really weird because I don't see men with the same. All the men who jumped on Kim was trying to like he would do something and they would literally turn it around on her, and I mean every fucking thing. I mean everything that he would do, that people would find a way to put it back on Kim Kardashian. So he's apologized for all of that. I always felt like he was being manipulative. I always felt like he knew what he was doing in terms of using different black tropes, in terms of like keeping me from my kids. You trying to cause me problems, those like it feels like dog whistles within our community in terms of like what black men will say when they're trying to paint a woman as being this like mean, negative, manipulative, witchy, bitchy type of person, and evil and lacking of compassion and understanding and all those things that they try to say that supposedly masculine or feminist women behave, right? I feel a lot of times people will assume that when it comes to a feminist that she lacks compassion for any situation, anything that has to do with men. And that's why I really am really consistent with trying to make sure I point out the fact that I give it up on men and women, because I don't want that to ever be a place that I'm coming from where I'm so skewed in my ideology or my politics or my advocacy that it doesn't allow me to see the actual issue within a situation, right? So that's really important. That's not to say that I get it right all the time, but that's most definitely coming from that standpoint. All right, so let's get into the article. So I just feel like a lot of people are mad because they want to do business with him, and when he's at that most vulnerable standpoint, it's easy to do business with him. I will say this in terms of him hiring Jason Lee. I'm not quite sure what that's going to do for him, to be honest with you, but I think that may be a decision that he made, like why he was not well. I'm being completely honest because I don't understand the merger of that. I don't understand that at all. I'm gonna be completely honest. All right, so let me go ahead. This is on site. Check them out. Kim Kardashian has made it her duty to prevent another sex tape from leaking after rumors began to circulate of a second sex tape of her and singer turned reality star Ray J. Amid the premiere episode of the Kardashians, Kim immediately reached out to her attorney, Marty Singer, once she learned Wack 100, the One Wish singer's former manager, what? And once she learned Wack 100, I think they're talking about Ray J's. Okay, Ray J is the One Wish singer's former manager claimed that he'll release concealed footage of another sex tape. So I guess Wack 100 had a sex tape from supposedly of Kim Kardashian that featured Kim Kardashian and Ray J, and he was at one time Ray J's manager. Yeah, Ray J he's just somebody who is going to he always looked like the little Ray J we know, like he still has a real young look, but the nigga he's a child too. And the other man that you see on the screen, another in the corner over there, he behaves like a child too, you know. Yeah, very toxic masculinity. Most definitely get those vibes. Very much selfish in how they go about things and not giving a fuck if it affects anybody else. I will tell you that Wack 100 is probably, yeah. If it's about him getting a dollar, if it's about him, benefit from, he'll do any fucking thing. He'll screw anybody over. He's out here trying to act like Geppetto, okay? And back, in DMs trying to call a situation so he can be featured on these sites that's going to build his profile. Like, nigga, I see you. You on the grind, and me too, so I'm going to call it the fuck out as I see it. But, he out here doing a lot of different type of stuff. And you gotta watch out for people who's willing to do any and everything, right? Play both sides, have affiliation, be manipulative. Like this nigga is, he's a lot. And if you're on Clubhouse, just stick around and look around a little bit, and you'll figure it out. But then you have Ray J that has over the years continuously keep on trying to bring up the fact that he hit it first. Y'all know he put out a song where he had a song called He Hit It First, and that was I'm talking about over 7 years after the sex tape, he was still putting out songs, right? Which was really weird because it's like you have a whole ass wife. You're disrespectful to your wife to continue to even be talking about and acknowledging this, right? Because it makes it seem as though you have an ex you can't get over. Right? That's what it really makes it seem like. It's really disrespectful, right? I don't want a man that's like pining away for another woman while I'm in his bed. Like what type of shit is that? Like, or talking about another woman about how you hit it first. Like you supposed to hit this and forget that shit. Like that's how I feel. I'm being completely honest. Like this was supposed to be the best you ever had. You making a whole song like you took time out to write a song out, like I'm being completely honest. I'm gonna be like, so like you were like writing at home, like at different times, like you were just like it was a bop. You came up in the shower. Like I just want to know, like how much time did you spend on it? Like I'm just I don't know. I would have a lot of questions. I'd have a lot of questions, but just know it's not, niggas gonna be mad that night going to sleep. That's all. All right. So I always felt like that was a little weird, and why Princess Love was letting her nigga out here talking about another woman like that. But that's how you know that a woman doesn't have real. I'm not gonna say like and I like princess love, but that's how you know she wasn't respected in her marriage. Like when a man would do certain things in a relationship, it's ultimately showing you how he respects his woman, and that's just how I look at it. And I look at it in the same way in terms of my man. If I'm out here continue to talk about my ex in a way, I don't respect my husband. But that's just that. Like, why if I if I'm his, he's mine. Like, why would I? Like, I don't know. And that's where even talking about Jada and Will, that was always my position. Like, I don't nah. You can't tell me you respect yours by doing that. Like, y'all supposed to be a united front. Y'all supposed to be out here like that couple that be wearing the same outfits and doing the line dancing. Y'all supposed to be in sync like that. Y'all see them. Y'all seen them on the Instagram. I will tell you that this story is old, and so this story is very old. This story seems very planted to me, and the reason why I say that I'm really surprised that this story re-aired again 14 hours ago on this site. And the one thing I've also noticed in terms of these blog sites, you can pay for these stories, right? People, yeah, let's call it, let's be 100. You can pay for the stories to be featured, so that you can make sure that you're getting some type of like you're being seen and building your profile, and it's an investment. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody pay for sponsorship, but I always say keep that in mind, because I think this story is really old and has been reported. It was reported at the time it happened, and I remember that distinctively. So because I think they even figured out that neither one of these gentlemen, or there wasn't they this didn't exist, meaning a tape of this encounter. So it's really weird that this is popping up. But when it comes to Wack 100 and what I've seen on Clubhouse and him orchestrating moments, and wanting to be and seem as if though he's bigger than what he is, and as if though he's really, I was in a room, I told y'all, he said he was pushing the culture. And if I guess this is pushing the culture, y'all. This in Blueface, and we are really still mad at Blueface being in the culture, to be honest with you. All right, let me continue reading. The Kardashian reality star told her attorney over my dead body, is this happening again? I know the right attorneys this time, and I'm not going to let this happen to me again. I have all the time, all the money, and all of the resources to burn them all to the effing ground. And that's what when she says I have all the time and all the money and all the resources, that's most definitely, that's the effect of seeing what Cardi B did, like in terms of Tasha K, and realizing, you know what, I can fight this, and I'm willing. Like, it depends on like what's being talked about. Like, if you feel that adamant about something and something goes against your core beliefs and of who you are as a person, and you want the truth be known, to be told, yes, most definitely stand on it. I don't care. Oh, I don't care about the whole, oh, you don't have to. I don't care what nobody thinks about you. People go think what they want. Yes, people are going to think what they want, but when you have people using you as target, as an escape, or as a trying to hustle off of you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have a problem, because now you think I'm like, now you think it's sweet. That's how I feel. And I think Kim most definitely should feel and go all out, because how many years is going to have can go by that these people can just feel like at any point in time I can threaten to expose her, I can threaten to talk about her in a way that is very not progressive, or is very historical at this point, right? Like the sense that, she's not that person, she's not doing that anymore, and that just goes across the board. Not even really about her, but anybody who's experienced that. If a motherfucker think they can just keep talking about you and causing some bullshit in your life, oh, show them they can't. And I support her, and that's why I really wanted to just do this story to say that I think as a woman, and all women should just really support any woman who is being threatened to what did they actually laws now to what is it, revenge porn, and expose your exes and stuff like that. So there's laws and stuff for that now. But with that being said, I most definitely understand her wanting to be like, oh, don't try me, and sending that strong message. And shout out, I guess, Cardi B, because it's most definitely, I think a lot of celebrities are going to see what's happening, and with Cardi B going back to court, that there's a way to get a nigga off you. And if you're lying, there's a way to do a little bit of correction, because we do have laws and we do have repercussions for telling a lie. Yes, you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom to lie. You don't have freedom to make up shit, right? You don't have freedom to take your creative stories that you write at night and make it seem like it's a fact. And that's exactly what Tasha K did. So, so with that being said, yes, there are repercussions for when you just lie and say whatever the fuck you want and say whatever the hell you want. And I think that's really dope that Cardi's been able to do that for a lot of people, for deplorable people who just think they should be able to ruin people with their malicious, fucked up ways. Um, Kim admitted that she's willing to protect herself and her family at any cost. Shortly after she reached out to Kanye West to reveal the shocking discovery, the drama initially unfolded back in September. See, exactly. I didn't read this before, but you see, it was reported back in September, so that's why I said this was weird. But like I said, niggas be wanting to be back out there. There's a whole bunch of. I was in a room this week, and maybe I got it. I was in a room this week, and I overheard a conversation, and the conversation included Wack 100 and this guy named Aayan, and Aayan has a popular whatever called Aayan Fix My Life, and Aayan is gay. Aayan has been on the Clubhouse and exposing people, putting it out there that allegedly or insinuating or alluding to certain men that are supposed to be that people think are heterosexual. He's out there trying to he's I have observed and heard him try to say that certain men aren't straight. Right? Basically, these men sometimes think they're just being friendly, and they just think everybody's out here building and trying to collaborate. And so you get into private conversations with people. And he had gotten into some private conversations with some black men. But the minute you make him mad, the minute he feels some sort of way, he's exposing you for being friendly with him and for saying and making it seem as if though because you were friendly with him, it's because you really wanted him. Like, he makes it seem like that. Or that you're not sure about your sexualities, all of that, allegedly. So he does a whole bunch of that. I tell y'all to say, I think it was last week or this week, he had a room where he was going to talk about Benzino and this video that came out that kind of implied, or the way people viewed it, made it seem as though Benzino was gay because he was in a hotel room with his best friend and whatever. Long story short, they're going back and forth about the room Aayan is having, and Aayan says, because Wack at this point, I gotta tell this point. So Aayan's having his room, Wack 100, this is how you know these niggas ain't shit. This is how you know they all in on this shit. Aayan specifically says, I only had the room open for like 10 minutes before you showed up, Wack. I didn't even say that Benzino was gay. All I did was pose the question and was going to talk about the video. And you came in, and I guess Wack 100 came in, confronted him. That then led to Wack 100 calling, pay attention. That then led to Wack 100 calling Benzino, and Benzino hopping on and having a moment in Clubhouse with Aayan, and a lot of insults, a lot of slurs going back and forth. Allegedly, Wack 100 was suspended or banned, and it was the weirdest ass ban. I don't even fucking believe that. But supposedly Wack 100 was banned. Now, I told y'all that he said that. I told y'all that Wack called Benzino to get on there. Boom. Meanwhile, what's also going on in the background, I guess before all this happened, there's previous conversations that have happened between Wack 100 and Aayan. And I knew that because they were very, Benzino and Wack 100 was very comfortable with coming into Aayan spaces. And let me tell you, I look at a gay man that's looking for dick like I look at a female, right? So I know these gay niggas will get in these straight men's face and be smiling and thinking they low-key flirting and trying to turn something out. So I watch you just as much as I watch a female. Period, poo. With that being said, I guess, and that's not to imply anything about Wack 100. I want to be clear about that. But I know that, some of these black gay men, that's the only ones I know, they will most definitely befriend and all this other stuff. So they had built some type of rapport with each other. So at one point, Wack 100 asks, and I'm going to pull it up. Wack 100 asks Aayan to expose P. Diddy. Now, this is important because at the time that's going on in this room, Wack 100 is telling Aayan, let me see. Wack 100 is telling Aayan he's fucked up. How dare you be trying to expose somebody? You are a fucked up individual. People got their people got their whole life, and you trying to fuck up their legacy. Who the fuck you think you are? And I'm talking about, he's talking like this. I'm not even going to act like I'm overemphasizing. You a fucked up person. What the fuck is wrong? I'll get you a whole bunch of, I'll get you fucking touch, and you playing around with the wrong people going on, right? At the meantime, we sitting here, we listening, and Aayan's taking it. He's really taking a lot of hits. Long story short, they have an exchange, and Aayan tells him, look at my girl, Dolly Parton. Hold on one second. Oh, I didn't know this was not on the screen. They're going back and forth. And so Aayan's getting frustrated because he don't like how hard Wack 100 is going, and I think I wouldn't like it either if I know that we all in on some bullshit and you really going real hard to make me look a certain way. I'd be mad too. But anyway, so Wack and Aayan going back and forth. At one point, Aayan says, "Oh, that's why you try to get me to expose P. Diddy." That's extremely important. Right? So what is all this performative ass behavior where you're trying to insinuate that you're trying to insinuate that this man is exposing and how wrong it is, how immoral it is, but you were trying to use him for your benefit, or you were trying to use him to get at somebody, to just get at somebody because you couldn't do it your fucking self, right? But you'll sit in this room and have all these people saying all these things about him, and trying to make him look like he's a certain type of way. But you were willing to use that crash dummy in that same motherfucking type of way. You were willing to use him. So with that being said, let me show you. Listen to the video. And this is how you know this nigga's on some fuck shit. Here you go.
Oh, you too. You ain't doing like that's great. That's my platform is bigger than yours. That's great. Fight back I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, but stop trying to make all heterosexual. I don't want no. If you had 2 earrings in your ear, you can't. Did you not? You told me to expose P. Diddy. Why did you ask me to do that? I never told you to expose P. Diddy. You never told me to do it. I never in life told you that. You never told me to do it. I know. Get in there. I'll never. On everything that comes off the blogs. What do you?
Okay. So yeah, I wanted you guys to see that so you can see the hypocritical ass nigga that he is, right? And how he's really full of shit. So at the same time, that's happening, right? Now, the same day that this is happening, that morning, let me tell you about God. He aligns things for you to see things. And I really don't do this, but he aligns things for you to see things in its totality when he's ready to expose it to you. I promise you he does. So it just so happened that morning, I'm watching Academics. The Academics, and Academics is covering what's going on the Clubhouse between Benzino, Aayan, and Wack 100. Now, in this video that Academics is doing, now he ain't my favorite nigga to listen to. He say some wild and fucked up shit, very much like an incel, but he's not my favorite nigga to watch. And how he refers to women, I just think he hates them. And if you watch him and like literally want to be like make some money with that nigga, you're weird, because yeah, he does not have a good disposition towards women. That's just my observation. Like, oof. Anyway, and he's ugly. So anyway, I'm watching Academics, and I'm listening. He making a lot of good points. One of the things he says is that he blames Wack 100 for even bringing this situation to light. A person like Aayan is a fucking weirdo. You don't let weirdos get a seat at the table. You don't introduce weirdos to, you don't put weirdos on, which I thought was really weird, because it's like, nigga, you were just a weirdo a few years ago. And niggas are really still mad about you being in the culture, with your disrespect and talking about ADOS people. We're going to get there. I didn't forget. Talking about ADOS people and the way you talk about women, we don't want you in the fucking culture. I think a lot of Black American people really get comfortable to be talking about culture. Like, whose culture are you talking about, sir? My sir. But anyway, he's talking about how fucked up it is that, bringing Aayan, introducing him and exposing him to different millions of people in terms of like, I mean, viewers and stuff like that, that he blamed Wack 100. And I was like, that's interesting. And the reason why he blamed Wack 100 because he said Wack 100, y'all wait for it, called him and like the messy Mandy Wack Williams he is, right? Because that nigga has Wendy Williams dreams, male version. He's playing on his phones and acting like he's Geppetto pulling strings and making things happen. That's how the fuck this comes across. So when it even comes to this motherfucking story, and after seeing how it happened in September, after seeing how it's really convenient that all of this stuff is, flooding the social media at the same time. Like if you really sit back and think about like how they're feeding, how certain celebrities and how this shit works, you're being inundated with media or content that is solely around Benzino, Wack 100 on social media right now. And, it feels like as if though this is all about to just either, exposure for themselves and most definitely to help Coyle Ray in terms of exposure for her too, because, Benzino's arguing with his daughter, right? So like all of this is just really whack. I feel like I'm giving enough, enough supporting and, evidence on why I feel the way I do. You don't get to use somebody, to expose people and then try to make yourself seem like you're so moral. Like you're full of shit. And you're full of shit. All right, so let's check out these comments. Y'all know my co-host be giving it up. He lame for wanting to do that. This man annoying. Facts. She ain't lying. Laughing my ass off when Chris get done with him. All he gonna have left is a box. I get why they call him Wack. Okay, I don't blame her at this point for what. Exactly. Like, why the fuck he bothering her? Go get him, Kim. Laugh out loud. I'm not sure she will win. No, she would win. He always in women's business. It's so unattractive. When I say a nigga in women's business, I just be like, hey sis. Like that's how I feel. Like, what happened to the strong silent type? Like that's between you women. Like what happened to the niggas who just said that's between you women? Just like that. Like y'all granddaddies did. That's why introduce me to y'all granddaddies. But I thought she says it's no tape. And that's what I thought was interesting. And that's why I think this article is full of shit. Because they already admitted that there was no tape. And I have no idea why that's not in this article. But that's interesting. Sick of him. Like I said, I think it's because, he paid for this feature, to be honest with you. Yeah. And, Raw Ali owns this site. So she's not a journalist. She's a blogger. And so you when it comes to, just don't put nothing past people. Child, I hope the second one better than the first one. Yeah, Kim, that first sex tape was weird. Yeah, that first sex tape was weird. That ain't no sex I want to have. That sex tape was weird. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, I don't even know how to explain. I don't even know how to explain. I don't even want to talk about it. She's past that. She's grown kids. Like now, she's way past that. But that sex tape was weird. Oh my, Kim can never just be peaceful. He's always in some shit. Always. Like this ain't by fault. This ain't no coincidence that all of this shit is happening at one time. This a messy ass nigga, y'all. Be careful of him. And I literally thought when I first, encountered him, I was like, okay, he looked like he trying to put a team together. He trying to do something. I think I inboxed a nigga, and then I just started to sit back and just see situations and the shit with Karen Civil. He on the phone playing phone tag. You see, y'all know that type of person who just inserts themselves in everybody's situation and try to act like they the person, the bridge, the glue that's keeping everything together and trying to broker peace, right? Trying to be that peacemaker in everybody's business. So he was in that Karen Civil and that Karen Civil scheming and stealing situation, and people were calling her out with the Jesse Wu. Like he was in all of that, right? That nigga messy as fuck. But you still see these men don't like to acknowledge their messiness. I say the same thing for Joe Budden. Like niggas don't like in that whole situation. Like Niggas say they bosses and you gotta move a certain way because people don't want to mess with you if if you're messy. And then you turn around, it's like, ain't this your business that you said that you can't be messy around because other people don't want to do business with you? So you got your whole slaughterhouse situation going on. You got the Olivia Dope situation, but niggas don't want to acknowledge that they fucking messy. And it's just really fucking weird. It's like some real cognitive dissonance on why you don't get the fact that you're messy. And yeah, that's just weird. But men never see themselves as messy. I promise you, Wack 100 does not see himself as messy. But if I had a big enough following and if I made enough noise yet, he would most definitely feel like, how dare you be talking about me? That ain't your fucking place. Like, he most definitely feel all of that shit. I'm a real ass nigga. I wouldn't try thinking that you could do that loud talking and woofing on me, because I'd just be like, nigga, I'm out here like you. And I think, a lot of times we're doing this, you do really have to be scared about, people wanting to expose you and tell people or whatever about your past and, put people on to, what's going on in your real life and all this other stuff. You have people who really.
Why perfect something that's made to be
Oh,
broken?
no.
Maybe it's for the same reason we decide to run 26.2 miles and raise millions for charity.
I have no idea where that's coming
from.
from.
The same reason we line the streets to get strangers over heartbreak. The same reason we unite on the day of a marathon. Because going to great lengths is what Boston does best. Of a nonprofit called Violence in.
All right, so yeah, I just wanted to give y'all that, but because like I said, so with just doing this and talking about people and stuff like that, and talking about what's in it, trending topics and stuff, you do have to be worried about people doxing you and all this other stuff. But I do try to most definitely keep it on towards like what's being reported at the time, and not going to dig or stay on people's lives and be really invasive. Yeah, I may remember a lot, but that's just fucking me. But I really do try to respect people in terms of that, like not trying to dig and find things that it's not about my story or what I want to talk about. But I most definitely understand I'm not going to get that same respect and understanding from everybody else. But what I will say, if you find out some shit about me and you want to expose, I look forward to it, to be honest with you, because I know it's not my shit. And I know that if you have certain types of other shit, or if you have certain types of information, I know exactly where it comes from. So I look forward to it, to be completely honest. I just feel like there's a lot that's been going on. I don't even have answers for myself. So if you are able to provide me some answers, I'm going to be here for it. And if you think you found something out about me, I'm really here for it, because there's some shit I want to talk about my damn self. Don't invite me to a good time. But just know that there's people on the other end of that their life is will be fucked up. Like, their life will be fucked up. Mine's, I'm gonna be like, I've been saying it. I've been saying it. You know what I mean? I needed a bigger platform. Like, I'm gonna look at it as though I won. Be completely honest with you. So y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep it bougie as F, posh as F, black as F. Mwah. I am out. Bye.